Okay, so we want to solve this. Let me bring it on down. That didn't work out so well. Do that again. There we go. Square root of 5. I was going to make it x. I don't like c's and other letters. I like x. I'm a math teacher. You can make it whatever letter you want. Doesn't matter. All right, so we're trying to solve this equation. And let me put in the wall of separation here. Okay. And so now, what do we do? How do you, let's write over here, solving a square root with an equal sign. That's what we're trying to do. Solving a square root problem with an equal sign, what do you do? Step number 1. You get the root alone. So you've got to get the root alone. That's the first step here. So I am going to subtract 9 from both sides. Boom, boom, like that. And get, what am I going to get? Square root of 5x plus 2 equals -9. Does that make sense? So the first step, see how we've got the root's alone now? He's all there is on his side. Step 2. No, I'll just use second power, but I'll just write it as parentheses 2 power, parentheses 2 power, both sides. So I'm going to come in here and go, okay. Parentheses 2 power, parentheses 2 power, both sides like that. And then you know what that does, right? That makes there be 2 of them. So I'm going to write 1, 2 of these 5x plus 2s. And the other side, it's going to be 2 of these -9s, right? Because that's what a 2 power does, is makes 2 of them. Okay. Now on the left side, this is just going to be 5x plus 2. You see why that happens? Because 2 in leads to 1 out. 2 inside of the root leads to 1 outside of the root, right? That's what square roots always do, isn't it? They're always a 2-for-1 deal, aren't they? Right? You know that the square root of 5 times 5, 2 5s inside is 1 5 outside, right? 2 in, 1 out. That's why, we say the square root of 25 is 5, because 25 is really 5 times 5. It's really 2 5s inside, which leads to 1 5 outside. That's what square roots always do. They're a 2-for-1 deal, like shopping at Target. Things are on sale 2 for 1. So that's what we do here. 2 5x plus 2's inside the root lead to 1 5x plus 2 outside the root. That's what square roots always do. But on the other side, there's no square root, right? It's just -9 times -9 is plus 81, isn't it? There's no roots over there. There's no 2-for-1 over here. There's no roots at all. It's just 9 times 9 is 81. 2 negatives make a positive, right? Okay. Let's keep going. Now what do? Now we just solve for x. Step 3. Solve for x. So get x alone. And so I'm just going to subtract it. By the way, there's no x squared here. I know we've been doing a lot of problems with x squared. Notice this does not have x squared. This is just regular x, not x squared. So I don't have to get a 0 and factor. That's only something you do when you have x squared. Do you get a 0 and factor? We don't have x squared. We just have regular x. This is what you've done a million times. Just solve for it. Just get it alone. So then we just, whoops, I don't know what just happened there. That's kind of interesting. 5x equals, and this will be what, 79, I think? Yeah, so I just subtracted 2 from both sides. All right, and then last step to get x alone here is divide by 5. And so x will equal, I'm going to use my calculator because it's a decimal. I'm just going to get a decimal here. It is 15.8. And I'm going to put in parentheses maybe. Because remember, step 4, you got to check this answer. Because It must be all when any problem that begins with a square root and an equal sign, you must check your answers by plugging in, because you can get false answers. So you need to remember on the exam, any problem that starts with a square root and an equal sign, you must check your answer, because you can get false answers, because you did the parentheses 2 power both sides, which can actually bring in false answers. That's the best thing we have, but you got to check on it. So check by plugging the answer into the original, right? So I'm going to go grab the original, which is right up here. There's the original. And so I'm going to bring it on down here. Where it is, there it is. And what was it? It was square root of 5x plus 2 plus 9. Zero, I think, right? 5x plus 2 equals 0, right? So I'm going to take that answer that I got, 15.8, and I'm going to plug it in right there for x and see if it comes out true or not. So what do I get? 5 times 15.8 plus 2 plus 9 equals 0. Like that. Is this making good sense? So I plug in 15.8 for x. Like that. 15.8 plugged in for x. Right? Because if this is really an answer, it's got to make the equation true. That's what it means to be an answer. Like if I give a simple equation like x add 2 is 6, you know the answer is 4. You know, what number plus 2, what number add 2 is 6? Well, 4. 4 is the answer. X equals 4 is the answer. Right? Because that's what makes it true. You would get it by subtracting 2 from both sides, right? And we'd say, oh yeah, x is 4, which is true. Because 4 add 2 is 6. So an answer to an equation is a thing that makes it true when plugged in, right? So let's see, does this make it true? I don't know. Actually, I do know. It's not going to work. Let me show you. 15.8, 79. So I'm getting, when I do that, 79 plus 2, right there. And then that's the square root of 81 plus 9. Square root of 81 is 9 plus 9. 18 equals 0. No, that's not true. 18 does not equal 0. False answer. Throw it out. Throw it out. So I come back up here and I go, no. It's a false answer. 15.8 is a bad answer. It's a false answer. It does not make the equation true. When plugged in, it said 18 is 0. That's not true. False answer. And that was the only answer I had. It's false. So this one is no solution. Because the only answer we got, 15.8, turned out to be a false answer when we plugged it in. It did not make the equation true. Now, sometimes you get two answers and one of them is bad and one of them is good. And so then you just keep the good one. You only have one answer. Sometimes you have two answers and they're both bad. Sometimes you have two answers and they're both good. Sometimes you have one answer and it's good. Sometimes you have one answer and it's bad, like this case. And so you throw it out and there's no solution to the problem. And there we go.